Hey, you guys, this is Courtney Camaro. I'm outside of Muhammad Ali's real original home. We're in Chicago, and I wanted to shout out Al's Botanics and Herbs. Man, when I tell you, I am one of those people that has insomnia. I can't sleep. I can't focus on some days because I'm so sleep deprived, and this has helped. This is one of the mixtures that he has that helps with sleep.
I'm gonna go over today a few reasons why Pookie and Ray Ray are the real lames. Okay. And this is in conjunction with what happened today on the South Side. It was if you're on social media, you probably already know what happened as far as the couple that got shot, the baby mom, she died, and her baby daddy got, I guess, wounded in the shooting. The baby survived. And it's just like, propaganda. The only reason that you don't think like this, because, in every other communities, they know their underclass is the true lame class. The black community is the only community of people that believe the latter. They believe that actually that the educated black men that don't basically get involved with any illegal activities or take, penitentiary chances and all of that, all in the ghetto, is the um ones that are not not to lame, right? Because it's all propaganda. I mean, I've been talking about propaganda for years, and the reason why a lot of mostly black women believe this, um, and of course the Pookie and Ray Rays believe this because it supports them. Is propaganda. The rap music, most of the music industry is owned by whites. Who runs the whites? Basically runs the whites? The Jews. The Jews are the top whites. They are like the Jews are the leaders of the white community. Okay. And most of the music is being pushed through propaganda. It's a they don't care about the music sales. The agenda is all that they care about, and the agenda is to destroy the black community. Okay, through music, through media, through TV and movies, cinema, TV and cinema. That's why you got all of these power book. Power book has, all these power books, right? Because that's supporting their agenda to make to put an agenda. The agenda is to show the black community is all thugs, gangbangers, gangsters, and uh murderers. Okay, that's what the agenda is. Okay, and I've been talking about that for years, and I don't really care. I mean, I do this channel as my own output. I don't have any narrative as far as I'm not fake. I'm not trying to make no money. None of that. I'm just telling you like it is, the real brutal, honest truth. Now, here's the thing. I'm gonna outline why. First off, I just already said it. Why Pookie and Ray Ray is the true lames. Okay, culturally speaking, all cultures have the right narrative as far as their underclass is is not put out on front as the badge or stamp of what the black or what their community is. The Indians, the Asians, the Europeans, whites, whatever, um, the Hispanics, this, now they do have certain elements as far as their narco culture that is put out there, but for the most part, they have control of their media somewhat, but not that much. But the thing is that most cultures don't have their underclass as far as the badge of who they are. But when you look at the black community is most vulnerable for that. And they do have that because of the decades now of propaganda. Okay. Music, television, cinema, okay, pushes this narrative that all black people are thugs, gangbangers, hoodlums, deadbeats, and so on and so forth, bad husbands, all of that. You don't have any very rarely do you have feel good movies, movies that are, basically a structured family and everybody is like, seventh heaven, no, they don't really have. They have very few of those TV shows, if almost none, and movies that are showing black people in a positive light. So the first thing is, I'll just say the black community is the only community that image is ghetto culture, ghetto underclass culture. So this is why you have this image of these ghetto people being cool. These ghetto Pookie and Ray Ray's thugs, BT 1000 or ED 209. The males are ED 209s, Ebony Destroyers 209s. This is all because of propaganda. Okay, propaganda. Okay, basically, this is the image of black people. Black people worldwide, they believe all black people rap and play basketball and are ghetto because that is what is being pushed. We don't really have control over our media like that. You know, even Tyler Perry, he doesn't even push a positive narrative. His narrative that is, being pushed is transgender woman, even though he's kind of stopped trying to do those big Medea movies, but it's still always some type of negative story about black people. Okay, even him, being a billionaire, he still pushes that, basically black people in a negative light, for the most part. So yes, this is why this is. I mean, basically this is our image because of propaganda. Okay, it's propaganda is very, very strong. A lot of people don't even understand how propaganda works. They don't even understand what it's all about. And the propaganda is being pushed on the black community very, very strongly because various reasons. I mean, it's if you push propaganda is a tool for war. Okay, that's what propaganda is. Okay. So secondly, why Pookie and Ray Ray is the true lames, in just every other culture, their underclass is also the true lames. They have the right image for their underclass. Like white people, trailer trash is not highlighted. They don't highlight their underclass like that. Okay. So basically, Pookie and Ray Ray cannot really fit in outside of the hood. Okay. They can't really fit in like that. Okay. Um Outside of the hood, They can't really fit in. That's why they like to stay in the hood. A dude that's, they call men that are educated, that are pretty much don't get in trouble. They call them educated lames, but those guys, not that they not I'm not saying that they can fit in the hood either. A lot of those guys, they stay in the house. Most guys that are trying to be something in life and really taking school serious and trying to get scholarships, most of those guys, in order to survive, they have to stay in the house. They have to do after school programs and try to stay out of troubles, stay out of the way of a stray bullet. But yeah, Pookie and Ray Ray really can't. They really can't. Um, let me change this here. Let me change this here. They really can't fit in outside of the hood. And I'm gonna explain this. I'm gonna explain this really, really well. And I've talked about this before. So, in order to make it outside of the hood, it costs money. It costs money to make it outside of the hood. I'm not saying, I mean, when I say Pookie and Ray Ray, I'm talking about your average, everyday, run of the mill Pookie and Ray Ray. They can't make it outside the hood. The reason why is a lot of part of capitalism is exclusionary. Okay. Capitalism, to a certain degree, keeps Pookie and Ray Ray inside the hood. And propaganda puts Pookie and Ray Ray as the stamp of the black community, as the standard. Okay. Pookie and Ray Ray is the standard of the black community because of propaganda, but the average run of the mill Pookie and Ray Ray, even if he makes money in the hood, he moves out of the hood. He kind of pretty much, either has to keep to himself, or he gets caught up, because you go to another neighborhood and you playing loud music, you get pulled over. You exhibit any type of ghetto ness. It draws attention to yourself, so it's easier for him to stay inside the hood. Okay. And then, to be honest, most Pookies and Ray Rays, they don't make enough money to move out of the hood. Okay, they just don't. Like, the whole glory of scamming and selling dope and everything like that. You end up getting caught a lot of times. If very few people make it out of that circumstance to actually make a life for themselves, because what end up uh happening is they get caught up either by the police, or someone else, pretty much like today, is gunning for them and they get shot and they die. Those are the two ways that, they just, even trying to make some money for themselves, they're up. And then a lot of times it's their own people that they know that are the ones that's gunning them down. It's somebody that they know setting them up. And then, that's the ones that's, trying to come up with some money to get out of the hood, or possibly be able to get out the hood. They have to face the police or law enforcement, and then also their own the people in their own neighborhood, gunning for them, because they have money now, or they're making enough money to where, basically, um people know they got money. They got a nice car, and they got a chain, and they talking about signing some type of rap contract or something like that. They got, in the hood, they call it what, some motion. People, they gunning for you. They're gonna try to rob you. They're gonna either rob you, try to kill you, or the law enforcement will get you. Those are the three major hurdles for Pookie and Ray Ray that keeps him in the hood, keeps him in the ghetto. And then even if he gets out of the hood, if culturally he still has those ghetto ways, he's not going to make it outside of the hood because he's going to get pulled over. He's going to, they're going to catch him, doing something, some weed, smoking a roach in the car, and then they're gonna pull him over, and then they find a gun on him. If he's a felon, he goes automatically to jail because you can't have a gun as a felon. Even though I don't agree with that, I don't agree with that law, but I mean that's the law. A lot of times guys go, that's how they go to jail, go back to prison because they have a gun because other people gunning for them, and they're a felon. Okay, so they get caught up. A lot of times it's easier for them to just stay in the hood, okay, for a lot of different reasons. So for the most part, most of them can't make it outside of the ghetto. They can't make it. Like a lot of times people big up, because of the propaganda, and people want to be proud of being, being from the ghetto. A lot of people want to be proud. Like the human condition is to be proud of even a lower state, a lower status of life. You want to be proud of it. People tend to want to be proud of anything that they do, even if they're a failure. They want people to be proud of them being a failure. They would like that. But unfortunately, um people tend to look up to people that have accomplished something. And if you haven't accomplished anything, people don't look up to that. But again, black people are heavily propagandized, so they fall for this narrative. This common narrative is going to be like this for a long time. That's me coming on here, coming on my soapbox, unfortunately is not going to change the narrative. People still are stuck on stupid, and they've already fell for the propaganda. They living through the propaganda. But the thing is that yeah, he can't really make it. Most of them can't make it out of the ghetto. The ghetto is pretty much, they're stuck in there. Only way that they can get out of the ghetto really is to square up, okay? Is to be like the quote unquote person that they call lame, straighten their act out, maybe go to junior college, learn how to drive trucks, or learn how to be an electrician or a carpenter or something, fix houses, get some type of career, and then make enough money to where they can pay bills, and then they get out. Basically they have to be like the person that other people call lame, to basically get out of the hood. Basically go get a trade, get some type of skill, career, to get out of that environment, or it might even take them a while to get out of that environment. Okay. um but yeah, most of them can't. They have a struggle in fitting outside of that environment. Okay. And a lot of people really don't understand, because I used to live in the ghetto a long time ago when I was young. And then my parents, we moved out, into the suburbs. Like, here's the thing, right? When it comes to the ghetto, the reason why a lot of people live there because that's all they can afford. A lot of times it's about affordability, okay? And then capitalism, people it's prices, and everything it has some type of particular price matrix, right? So living in the ghetto, because nobody really hardly wants to live there, the prices are low. Like when you coming up in real estate, a lot of times you kind of have to start off in the ghettos because that's where the lowest prices are. Okay. So the thing is that people can afford to live there because the prices are low. Well, living outside of the hood, the prices are higher. So when you move somewhere that is not so ghetto and hood, the prices cost more for housing. So you have to pay a mortgage typically, and then all of the things that come with that, and or higher rents, and it just costs more. Okay. And a lot of times the women that deal with these men, what they find out is these men, if they get locked up, obviously if they die as well, they can't help them pay bills. They can't, they struggle with Pookie and Ray Ray trying to make legal money. They have a problem, and then a lot of times they already marked with the scarlet letter for being a felon, and then they have a hard time getting a job, and it becomes a struggle as far as earning legal money for them to stay out of trouble and pay bills. So they struggle trying to deal with these men outside of the hood. Okay. And dealing with domestic violence as well, because a lot of times if the man doesn't earn enough, he feels inferior, and the woman might disrespect him for being financially deficient. So he's likely to put his hands on her to assert dominance, because he's financially deficient, and he feels inadequate because he cannot pay the bills. He can't compete financially. Competing financially, he has to deal with other people, and people from other environments that he's not familiar with, and to try to earn money. Okay. Working a lot of times is a humiliation ritual, and a lot of Pookies and Ray Rays don't really want to deal with that. They don't really know how to deal with that, and it becomes a struggle for them to basically adjust to that life of basically working your way up, trying to work your way up from the bottom to the top. But that's capitalism. That's how this system works. So yeah, they can't really make it outside. A lot of them struggle to make it outside. They'll live their whole life in the ghetto, and struggle to make it, because a lot of times they fall off even in the ghetto because they might have had some money, they might have had something going on, and then they get locked up, and then they get tired of going back and forth to jail and prison, so they try to square up inside the ghetto, and that becomes very, very challenging because the ghetto doesn't have a lot of opportunities and jobs. So that is another avenue. Okay. And let me think else. Let me think. They like to hang around other dudes. They like they in gangs. They hang around other men. Their life a lot of times involves hanging around other dudes. That's pretty lame if you ask me. That's why I never joined a gang. I mean, that was one of the reasons. You joining other men, you're around other men all the times. And then hood rats. Yeah, they hang around all guys, and then okay, you get arrested, right? Get arrested for pushing packs or scamming or robbing or burglarizing homes, whatever you're getting arrested for. Guess what? You're going to hang around other men in jail and prison. Their life consists of hanging around other guys. It's pretty lame and gay to be hanging around other guys all the fucking time. You know, but yeah, nobody really talks about this shit. It's like, yeah, they hang around guys all day. That's pretty fucking lame if you ask me. And I know this ain't gonna be, this not gonna be liked. I mean, for the most part, I don't really talk about this shit, but I have to I feel I definitely am compelled to go against the propaganda. Even my little fucking little video or whatever, I have to. It makes no sense to me to not go against the propaganda. So I have to point it out and call it how I see it. I might be able to touch one soul. If I can touch one soul, so be it. If I can help one soul, that's enough for me. I'm good. If I can touch one person and get them, to unpropagandize their mind, I'm good for it. All right. So yeah, they hang around guys all the fucking time. That's pretty fucking lame if you ask me. It's fucking lame. Um, Hanging around dudes all the fucking day, on the corner, on the block, doing various activities. And then if you get caught, guess what? You hang around some other dudes. And then you know what happens in prison, right? I'm gonna tell you some prison stories because I've never been to prison, but I've I've actually know people. I like this dude I knew, he sold computers at the flea market a long time ago, back when I used to sell computers, and after the flea market, I opened up a small store. Actually, my store was right down the street from where these people got shot today. It was on 79th, right off Eberhard, near King Drive. The shooting that took place, it was past Cottage Grove, a ways past Cottage Grove, not too far from Cottage Grove, and is on 79th Street in the southeast side of Chicago. Now, here's the deal. So the dude I knew at the flea market, he was an older guy. He was I was in my 20s. He was already 60 something years old. He retired from working at Stateville Prison. Okay, Stateville Prison is one of the most notorious prisons in Illinois. Okay. And he worked there as basically he worked in a cafeteria, and he was ex-Navy. Okay. Um, he said that a lot of it was a dude that used to work with one of the gang leader, Larry Hoover. He was like one of his lieutenants or top men, and he was really big. And one of these things that he used to like to do, I don't really know the name of, I forgot the name, what his name was, but he was a big guy. And one of the things that he used to like to do was any and he, any young guy, especially the GDs that would come into the prison, he would basically grape them. Or I don't even have to worry about that because I don't got no monetization. He basically raped the little boys that, I mean, basically not, they're not little boys, but raped the young men coming into prison. Okay. He would notoriously, like, rape these young men going into prison, especially if they were GD, because they were all group up together. He was raping them. These guys were doing life in prison. They were doing like football numbers, in prison. So yeah, they would rape them. They would rape the other younger, GD inmates that were in the prison. That's what this is what he told me. And he worked in the cafeteria, in the prison with the inmates. Yeah. So a lot of them, basically they got to deal with prison. They're around other guys, and some of them get raped in prison, and you'll never know. They will never tell you, or they raped other men in prison, and they would never tell you that. No, like the salad toss man, Fleece Johnson, that Anton Daniels interviewed. He was notoriously known for raping men in prison. Yeah, that's what they do. Get involved, they hanging with other guys, and then they get caught up, and then they got to go to prison, then they get raped. That's why it's called the penal system. It's the penal system because that's where you go get peen. So yeah, hanging out with other guys, but no, that's not lame, right? That's not lame. Yeah, that's not lame. Oh. Right? That's not lame. Hanging around with other guys all day. Then you get caught. Then you gotta hang with some old guys. You gotta permanently, for long periods of time, hang with guys in prison, and then possibly get raped, or rape other men, or be gay in prison. Yeah, sounds pretty fucking lame to me, but nah, you fall for the fucking propaganda. And here's the thing, right? Here's another thing. These guys are quote unquote the cool guys. But look at what they have to deal with though, really. Look at really what they have to deal with. It's not a glamorous life as you think. Like the little hood rats that they deal with, yeah, they look good and all of that. I'm not gonna lie, some of them look real good, right? They they have to deal with a lot of shit from them women. This is the stuff that they got to deal with the women that they deal with, right? They don't get respected by them women. It's not like them women respect them. It's not them black women that they deal with are some of the worst women on earth. They're masculine as fuck. They're in the hood and they're poor, so they have to be masculine to survive because jobs are not plentiful, and a lot of poverty, a lot of unemployment, a lot of crime. It's not a glamorous life. It's not cool. I mean, they act cool on the internet and all of that because people have to be proud about something. Most people don't. They don't have. Um. They don't. They're not humble enough to basically look at it for what it is, as is not something to be proud of, because they don't have any other choice. They want to look cool on the internet and say all other guys, the educated guys, they're lame. No, these guys are fucking lames, man. They put up with the worst women. The worst of black women are in the ghetto, in the hood. And these men have to deal with these guys. A lot of times they have no fucking choice. A poor guy in the hood has no choice but to deal with these types of women because that's all they have around them. And these women are the worst to deal with. They do not respect them. A lot of the men that deal with women in the hood like that, the Pookies and Ray Rays, those women disrespect them like like crazy. I mean, they put them through the ringer with disrespect. I mean, the lot of the women deal with these men because they're the only ones that will date them. They're the only ones that will deal with them because nobody else would deal with them because they don't have to. But Pookie and Ray Ray kind of have to because they don't have any other choice. It's kind of like living in the hood in the ghetto when you're very, especially if you don't have the means to get out or whatever. It's kind of an open air prison. And in prison, you got to deal with whatever's there. If you're lucky, you get a nurse call, and some of the nurses they sell coochie in prison. Some of it maybe a guard might like you, and you might get some coochie. But other than that, you just have a bunch of other men around you, and all you can do is have butt sex. So the thing is in the hood, it's kind of similar in the sense of you don't get out the hood, that's all you're dealing with is women that are in the hood. And these are the worst women on earth, on planet Earth is in I mean the worst. And they extremely disrespectful. I mean, like concentrated, I mean, like the most concentrated disrespectful black woman is a black woman in the hood. That's why they push the sexy reds, the glorrillas, the Cardi B's on the black on the masses because they push propaganda. They're the worst. Even Cardi B, she's on tape, on video saying she used to set dudes up. She used to get dudes drunk and then tie them up and then let transgenders basically rape them or worse. That's what she said. Like that is PG. But I would put up, I would bet. Okay, I got about I put up $1,000 right now. The Cardi B set niggas up to for worse. I mean, like literally to get murked. Cardi B got skeletons in her closet from setting niggas up. And this is what they got to deal with. They deal with women that also set them up. They know the other ops or they friends with the ops and the ops send them to go, basically be a honeypot for another dude and another crew. And then she sets the location. She knows where the location is. She's got her location on. So next thing you know, this door gets kicked in, and then you getting lit up because she done set you up. Yeah, they got to deal with the worst. It's no peaches and cream in this type of environment, in this type of situation. They just romanticize that shit because it looks cool. They want to be cool. Everybody wants to be cool. But I'm gonna be honest. Again, like these dudes are the real lames. Make no mention, no, don't make no mention anything otherwise, because again, look at everybody's culture. Everybody's culture, these are the underclass, are the underclass. We're the only group that big ups or have their image of the standard of black people to be underclass. And black people are mostly middle class. It's not like all of us are underclass, but the powers that be want to push an image of black people being downtrodden and broke, poor, and ghetto because it just do. That's what they do. That's what they push propaganda for, you know. And everybody and a lot of people eat it up, and very few people say anything about it. But I'm saying something about it now. Now, here's the thing. Again, stuff that they got to deal with. They got to deal with a lot of shit when it comes to their women that they deal with. They women want to fight. They got to fight their women. They got a lot of domestic violence they got to deal with because they women disrespect the hell out of them. Okay. The most disrespectful thing that they do is get their men shot, get their men locked up in jail. A lot of these women, they the ones that call the police on them to get them locked up. And then a lot, they gotta kill the woman. That's what happened today. It didn't matter. If they shot that baby, they shot that baby in the dad and the mom. They wouldn't give a shit. They wouldn't care. They ain't care who was in that car. That car was getting shot up. They had machine basically automatic machine guns, basically AR-15 style rifles. Like it almost looked like some shit off of a fucking Call of Duty scene or something. They pulled out basically they had black guns, black outfits, uh basically masks with basically AR-15 assault rifles. He shot up that damn car. The woman was driving. She was just sitting there like a duck. When you supposed to kick that motherfucking basically shifter into reverse, and then pop that motherfucking shifter in the drive and get the hell on up out of there. That's how you supposed to do that. It should have been burning rubber. That car should have been moving. But the women don't know the average woman don't know how to drive like that. Even men don't know how to drive like that. I mean, I do. I mean, I never had to do that. But the thing is that yeah, like they were just sitting there. Some car was blocking them in. They just yeah, got gunned down. But again, like this is the stuff that they got to deal with. They want to live they want to live in these areas, and that's all they know, and they got to deal with the worst. It's not anything to be glorified, but yet they glorify it in rap music and culture, all cinema, TV. People give them unlimited funding to push this cultural degradation on to the masses. And yeah, they got to deal with the worst, man. They got to deal with the worst part of society. They have to deal with it, and it's not anything that is worth glorifying. It's a tough life, and they have to deal with the worst of it in these areas that they have to live. St. Louis, Memphis, Chicago, Miami, Liberty City, and all them little parts of Miami where it's messed up. Um, uh, shit, Gary, Indiana, Detroit, Jackson, Mississippi. I mean, they got to deal with the worst, man, and yet they look down on guys that try to talk proper and stay out of trouble and crack books. Try to pay attention to the school, and they look down on them and they call them lames. The black community calls their black people. If you notice, shit's fucked up, man. A lot of I'm not the only one that said this. I got this from BGS Itmore. A lot of the black community a lot of stuff is in reverse. It's backwards. A lot of the black community is all you need to know as far as propaganda is concerned. All you young people, all you need to know is a lot of things are backwards. And when you see it as backwards, it is what it is. It's backwards. So that's why the black community looks at their educated class as lames, and they big up their underclass because it's backwards. Black woman is backwards. She wears the pants. She runs uh quote unquote black community or community, whatever you want to call it. She runs it. She runs the house because she runs her mouth. She runs every man away that she tries to deal with her mouth. And she runs these areas where it's these single mom strongholds, where there's no man around. You look up the demographics. All you got to do is look up the demographics of the city. It's more is unmarried, a large population of unmarried individuals and a higher population of women. And it's basically a bunch of single moms with children. And they don't control their children. Their children running around, doing whatever, and they don't even know what they're doing. Backwards. Another thing that's backwards is basically how people are even looking again at their underclass as the status quo of what it is to be cool, what it is to be the standard. That's why a lot of women, they like these guys because they like the music, they like the propaganda, and they don't even know what propaganda is. They teenagers in their 20s, they don't even have an idea what propaganda is. All they know is they like the beat, they like the song, and they like the guy that wrote it, that rap on the song. And next thing you know, they hooked up into the propaganda. They're brainwashed. So a lot of the black community a lot of things are reverse in nature. A lot of things are backwards. And when there's backwards, you know it's not how it's supposed to be. I'm gonna tell you another thing that's backwards in the black community, right? A lot of shit is backwards. And this is the stuff that they have to deal with. And um, look at how black people look at this, right? So they make everybody else rich, and then nobody returns the favor. It's not like, okay, they make the Korean rich, they make the Indian rich, the white man rich, and the Indians, the Asians, they don't return the favor. White man gives you crumbs, you giving him the whole pie. Backwards. What's going on, Snowman? Snowman, he had we crossed very similar paths. He used to live on the south side. He sprung from the south side. He actually grew up in the wild hundreds. Then he moved to Gary at a particular time, and sprung his roots in Indiana. You know, um, the thing is yeah, backwards. A lot of things are backwards as shit. So when you think about it, right? Like again, like black community, black folks giving all their money to everybody, and then when you go to when you open up a store, who shops with you? Right? And not the same people that you shop with. They don't come to your neighborhood and support you, but you going all in their neighborhood, supporting them, making them rich and making them re-rich. And then when it comes to for your turn to get rich, you get the cold shoulder, get nothing. Backwards. Well, backwards ass people. Then the whole propaganda with the FBA and all of this shit with Tariq Nasheed, like you motherfuckers are backwards with that. It's another way for black people to be propagandized, to be ass backwards. Look at all other communities. The Korean, what does he have? A connection with Korea. He wants some rice. He getting rice from Korea. And then once the rice comes from Korea to here, he's selling it in his Asian market, selling Korean rice, Korean whatever, dishes, wonton soup, whatever, from fucking Korea. He's tethered to his country and he's importing and exporting from Korea, selling to his people in America. That's how that works. The white man in America is tethered to Europe. He makes money from his people in Europe. The Europeans make their money from white Europeans in America. That's how that works. Meanwhile, in America, black people talking about, I ain't African, I'm Indian. You're a fucking idiot. That's what you are. You know, the ones that, like Afro Think Tank and others that, search for Uhuru, Dinah Samir, that does have a connection with Africa. All the appreciation, all the accolades go out to you guys. I strive to go there soon. I'm trying as soon as possible to go back to basically go to Africa. Okay. Ass fucking backwards. All you need to see is just point out where fucking black people are ass backwards, and you can just see, you can connect the dots. Said backwards is an understatement, and to think I have many black folk ask, no, beg me for a chance to call games with me. Then when I tell them the rules, they ghost me. Yeah. I mean, just backwards, man. And the thing is the whole Pookie and Ray Ray being not being considered lame is another reason to call out the backwardsness. And I'm glad that I have a big ass brain and I'm smart and I'm able to point this shit out. I'm not the only one, right? Like again, the whole idea of the concept of black people being backwards, I got that from majorly from BGS Itmore, but you can point it out like all you got to do is look at it like a kindergartner, like items with like items. What is this? What is different from this group to this group to this group? And you just point it out, and I've talked about it for years. I mean, black people are ass backwards because I mean, basically we fall for it. We fall for every fucking thing, and some people point it out and you get called a coon and all this other shit. No, you motherfuckers are ass backwards. That's what you are. And I'm here with my channel is growing, but I know people are confused. One minute I'm talking about real estate comps. The next day I'm talking about Pookie's. Pookie's, I'm on a war path with Pookie's and Ray Rays. Well, here's the thing. Societal issues are very important. And I talk about societal issues as well. But I do talk about real estate. I'm trying to deal with capitalism, but it's also societal issues as well. And I cannot just bypass societal issues and just talk about other things all day when we got societal issues. You can't deal with trying to make anything if you don't address societal issues. And the thing is that again, that's why I'm pointing this out, and I'm pointing out, how ass backwards we are as far as putting our underclass, Pookies and Ray Rays, in making them seem like they're not lames. I'm here to tell you that you basically been hoodwinked and led astray. Basically they are the lames. They are the true lames. Every culture, their underclass is lames. We're the only culture that doesn't think the same way. All you gotta do is point out where's this shit, where's this, what is different than this other than everybody else, and you can see where the backwardness is. And it's a lot of backwardness when it comes to black people in America. And all you got to do is just point it out. And you just really simply just point the direction of how backwards it is. And it is backwards. Black women running the household, running the community backwards. black community having the standard for underclass ghetto men, Pookies and Ray Rays, being cool and not being lame backwards. Black community making everybody else rich, you know, even I mean, even the like the young blacks and other blacks that got money, you know, millionaires, successful investors, and all that, you know, oh, I got Gucci. Oh, oh, I got some Louis Vuitton. I got some Prada. You know, and I'm like, the end of the day, nigga, you making everybody else rich, motherfucker. You still most likely your family poor. Everybody, most black people that I know has elements in their family, they're poor as fuck. You know, and you making other people rich, you know, just because you came up, you know, doesn't solve anything. It's just you're a fucking idiot.
You big dummy.
You know, everybody else playing fucking chess, you playing checkers with your dumb ass.
You're stupid. That's what you are. You're unintelligent. You're a stupid motherfucker. And if you want to get on Skype with me, get on the phone with me, I'll tell you directly, you're stupid. You're stupid. You lack intelligence. That's what Alan Roger Curry got to say about that. You're stupid.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's just, you know, I just had to call it out, man. I'm tired of this shit, man. I had a fuck enough, man. I had to say something about this shit. So anyway, man, I don't know. End of the day, um, yeah, they you know, they got a lot of shit they gotta deal with. And it ain't rosy and peachy. You know, they got some of the worst women on God's green earth that they gotta deal with. And they put up with a lot of shit and they don't want to talk. They don't really want to talk about it. But they come on here and talk about it. They talk about it from time to time. They got to put up with a lot of fucking problems. It's not you know, something to be proud of. You know, I don't know if you still there, Snowman, but um, you know, the NBA, man, is it's pretty crazy right now. I can't fucking like, you know, damn, Zach Levine always goes under. Like if I can't count on nothing, I know Zach is gonna always go under, you know, and I know it, and I just called it, and it was like, uh, you know, Zach coming up short again. You know, some of these guys, man, they just, I think they need to go, and then the Kings, the Sacramento Kings get beat by the Grizzlies, you know, and it's like, what the hell, you know? They got all of these star players, but they can't even beat the Grizzlies. You know, it's like, man, some of these guys they need to go play for the Hong Kong River Dragons. You know what I'm saying? And just go and get out the league, man. I mean, you know, these guys, man, they stay in the league and they just stink it up. But anyway, you know, I don't really have nothing else to say, man. You know, I'm done with my soapbox. You know, this some people will get the message.